Welcome to the April issue of the AI for Entrepreneurs newsletter. And man, this is some incredible news. OpenAI has introduced 4.0 image generation, and this is the most incredible image generator that I've seen so far. It does so many new things compared to Midjourney, which was the previous leader, and still is the leader in some ways in terms of image quality and things like that. But this really takes it to another level, opening up so many new opportunities for us as entrepreneurs. I used it in creating a sales funnel for a launch recently, and it just blew me away with how fast and how easy it is to generate the exact images you want. This is now like having a top world-class designer next to you, or actually in front of you, designing for you as you tell them what you want, what you don't want, making iterations and revisions as you go. But there's so much more to it than even just that. Like if that's all it did, it would be amazing. But there really is so much more. So I'm going to walk through their announcement here, but also as I go through this announcement, I'm also going to share with you things that I've learned from doing research into this new AI image generation tool. It's really incredible. One of the biggest advancements that you'll see is the ability to generate text. Almost all image generators have been really poor at generating text. They usually get extra letters in there or missing letters or too many letters and things like that. But this is nailing it. This is just nailing the text in such a better way. And again, that's just not all of it either. There's more to it. Let's go ahead and get right into the announcement here. So check this out, okay? This is a wide image taken with a phone of a glass whiteboard. This is a prompt in a room overlooking the Bay Bridge. The field of view shows a woman writing, sporting a t-shirt with a large OpenAI logo. The handwriting looks natural and a bit messy, and we see the photographer's reflection. Okay, now here is the rest of the prompt. It says the text reads, transfer between modalities, suppose we directly model, pros, cons, right, and then it says on the bottom right of the board, she draws a diagram, tokens, transformer, diffusion, pixels. Look how it nailed this prompt, okay? This is not an actual photo. It looks like an actual photo, but it nailed the prompt because it has the Bay Bridge in the reflection here, as you can see, and then it has all the correct lettering, the words correctly spelled, and it adds the logo, the OpenAI logo, to her t-shirt. Of course, it created her, and she's supposedly writing on the whiteboard. So it just nailed this. Now, if you try doing this with Midjourney, even with Ideogram, which is known to be a good image generator that renders text very well, or with really any other large language model image generator, this would all be garbled. The text would all be garbled. Okay, so this alone creates so many opportunities. The fact that you could render text accurately in an image that's completely made up by AI, that's game changing. And one thought that just comes to mind right off the bat is t-shirts. You know, there's a lot of money to be made in the t-shirt business, especially in print on demand, where you can upload a design and have it for sale on a website like Amazon or Redbubble or Etsy or eBay, and then every time that shirt sells, it automatically gets shipped out to the customer and you don't have anything to do with it, the fulfillment. You're literally just designing shirt designs and putting them up, and then as they sell, you start making an income from that. Well, this is just one obvious use case of this, where you can render text. And by the way, you can render text in the font style that you want. So you could name it and explain the font that you want it to use and render text. So not only can you render the image, but you can now render text in the image as well. Where before, if you wanted to have an image for a t-shirt, and again, t-shirt's just an idea. You could have the image for anything, right? It could be a cover for a binder. It could be a coffee mug image. It could be stickers. It could be anything. But the bottom line is, before, you would have to go to Canva or Photoshop and move the text into the image. You'd have to start with a background image or the actual image and then move the text over. And that was just another step, but also it took time. Here, you get it all done in one shot. So that's one thing that I wanted to show you here. And then it says, selfie view of the photographer as she turns around to high-five him. So now this is showing the imaginary photographer, right? All of this is imaginary, all created by AI, but notice that it showed the photographer in the reflection, and then you're saying, now give us a selfie view of the photographer as she turns around to high-five him. So now you're still seeing the whiteboard, you're still seeing the Bay Bridge in the background, you're seeing them high-fiving, you're seeing her face for the first time because here you're not, and you're seeing the photographer, right? Pretty incredible. So think about this. Now you can create many different scenes with character consistency, meaning the character stays the same, looks the same, and even scene consistency. As you can see here, the scene stays the same and is consistent compared to the original image. So what this allows us to do is create entire videos or movies or character boards or storyboards around a central character. And I'll show you in another video how I did that with this particular tool. I'll show you a real case example of that. All right, so this is pretty amazing. Great way to start. Let's move on. So here they're talking about character consistency and how you can maintain consistency of the character. I'll have a link to this page below this video so that you can see what that's all about. Now let's look at text rendering. It says a picture is worth 1,000 words, but sometimes generating a few words in the right place can elevate the meaning of an image. 4O's ability to blend precise symbols with imagery turns image generation into a tool for visual communication. Now here's the prompt. Create a photorealistic image of two witches in their 20s, one ash balayage, not sure what that is, one with long wavy auburn hair, reading a street sign. Context, and it gives a whole long prompt with a lot of details, including a lot of details of what the signs should say on the signs. And then including details about the characters. One is holding a broom, the other has a rolled up magic carpet, and one that goes into more detail on the streets, parked cars, all the background view, right? So here's that image. And as you can see, it has the rendering correct. No standing. Down here it says broom parking for witches not permitted, magic carpet loading and unloading, reindeer parking. Okay, it rendered it pretty perfectly, right? But the main thing that I want you to focus on here is the text, how well it did text. And these signs look like real world signs, right? So imagine, here's one idea, I mean just a really amazing, easy idea, is you create personalized signs for people and you sell them on Etsy, right? And you create the imagery on the sign in 4O. So that's one example of that. Now let's look at menu. Here's another example, and this is for a menu. So the prompt is, I'm opening a traditional concept restaurant in Marin called Heiin. It focuses on Korean food cooked with organic farm fresh ingredients, etc., etc. So, and then it actually gives, you're giving it the exact information, the exact text to put in the image. Okay, this cannot be done with any other image generator right now. And there it is. All the exact text is in there. So this would be like a mock-up of a menu, or it might be the menu you could have printed because you've designed it in such a way, right? And then there's a third one, and that's an invitation here. Photo of a delightful wedding invitation on a tasteful wooden desk. And here's all the detail that you can see that was put in. Notice the text rendering. You know, somebody didn't have to go put this in. It was created in the image generator itself. That's pretty powerful, right? Now let's move on. Multi-turn generation. Because image generation is now native to GPT-4o, you can refine images through natural conversation. So now, if you don't like the original image that it creates, you can talk to it. You can just chat with it, and say, hey, I don't like this about it. Can you change it to this? And it'll do it. This is amazing. This is literally turning a graphic design into a conversation, as if you had, again, a world-class graphic designer sitting there, and you're telling the designer what you want and what you don't want, what you like and what you don't like. GPT-4o can build upon images and text in chat context, ensuring consistency throughout. For example, if you're designing a video game character, the character's appearance remains coherent, meaning consistent, across multiple iterations as you refine and experiment. This is how it would be used in a video game. You can upload this picture of a cat to begin with, to begin the chat, and then say, give this cat a detective hat and a monocle. And it does it. Okay. Then you could say, turn this into a AAA video game made with a 4K game engine and add some user interface as overlay from Mystery RPG, where we can see a health bar and a mini map at the top, as well as spells at the bottom with consistent iconography. All right. And there it does. It gives it to you. It adds this. I'm not a gamer, so I can't tell you all the details, but this here is what they call a health bar. It shows that you're losing energy or you're losing points or whatnot. And this down here is like an interface and so on. So it did that. It followed the instructions. And then you could say update to a landscape image, 16:9 ratio, add more spells in the UI, and unzoom the visual so that we see the cat in a third-person view walking through a steampunk Manhattan, creating beautiful contrast and lighting like in the best AAA game with cool toned colors. And there it does it. Okay, it's looking at it in the third-person view, and so on. Then create the interface when the player opens the menu, and we see the cat's character profile with his equipment and another page showing active quests, etc. So this is in the example of a video game, but think about this. You could create playing cards, you could create imagery of all kinds, you could create Pokemon or collector cards, things like that, in that style, I should say. Now that's in the use of a video game. Let's look at stickers. Can you make a cute minimalist raccoon eating a strawberry? Sticker. Use a thick white border and transparent background. Here's another cool thing that 4o does. It creates these images with transparent background. So you don't have to go take them into Canva or Photoshop and make the background transparent. You can automatically just tell it, I want a transparent background. So that's what it is here. You've got the white border that is common with stickers, and then beyond that is transparent. Then say, try a different minimalist style and a gray raccoon, and it does that. Can you add a chew mark to the strawberry and maybe some red mess around the mouth? And it does that. And that's pretty amazing, right? So now let's move on to another thing that it can do, and that is instruction following. GPT-4o's image generation follows detailed prompts with attention to detail. While other systems struggle with 5 to 8 objects, GPT-4o can handle up to 10 to 20 different objects. Pretty amazing. The tighter binding of objects to their traits and relations allows for better control. So let's take a look at this one. This is all AI generated, by the way. It says a square image containing a 4-row by 4-column grid containing 16 objects on a white background. Go from left to right, top to bottom. Here's the list. And it gave it a list of things to put in there. And there it is. Blue star, red triangle, etc. So most image generators cannot do this. They cannot follow the logic like this one can. Next, we have world knowledge. So native image generation enables 4o to link its knowledge between text and images, resulting in a model that feels smarter and more efficient. So what we're talking about is the ability to connect, let's say mentally connect text to images. So let's look at an example of that. The prompt is, make me a professionally shot photorealistic diagram of the top-selling cocktails in my bar with recipes labeled on each drink. Put the recipes on handwritten cards in front of each drink. The cards are brown and the text is black. Background is white. Title is 4 most popular cocktails. So here's what it shows you. And so the image is 4 most popular cocktails, showing what they look like and showing the basic recipe for each on a brown card with black text. Amazing, right? How it understands to put this card in front of this drink, this card in front of this drink, and so on. Let's look at a weather infographic. Make a visual infographic describing why San Francisco is so foggy. And notice how it said SF, and the AI automatically knows that stands for San Francisco, right? And it says why SF is so foggy, and it does an infographic, and it pretty much nails it. Does it in a very cool style as well. Photorealism. Okay, now this is where Midjourney AI shines. Midjourney does these amazing photorealistic images, but ChatGPT 4.0 is coming up strong now with that. Training on images reflecting a vast variety of image styles allows the model to create or transform images convincingly. So this prompt is a candid paparazzi-style photo of Karl Marx hurriedly walking through the parking lot of the Mall of America. Okay, did a pretty good job of it, and even gets the text correct, right? Let's look at some other ones. A cat looking into a puddle of water on a street, but its reflection is that of a tiger, and both reflections are realistically distorted by ripples in the water. That's amazing, right? So as you can see, it's got a tiger here, and the cat's looking at itself, and it's visualizing itself as a tiger, and there are actual ripples in the water, and that's distorting the image. That's amazing. I think that one's really amazing. Also kind of a motivational image as well. So be thinking about ways you can use this even if you were to create motivational posters, for example, things like that. Here's one. A photorealistic image of farmers market in Toronto on a Saturday in summer 2006. It's a beautiful late June day. People are shopping, eating sandwiches, etc. And focus should be a young Asian girl wearing denim overalls and sipping on a strawberry banana smoothie. Rest can be blurred. The photo should be reminiscent of that a digital camera from 2006 would take, with a timestamp like a printed photo would have. Right there, there's a timestamp. Aspect ratio should be 3:2. Nailed it, right? And notice especially it nailed it because it's supposed to be 2006, and you don't see a whole bunch of people looking at their phones, even though we did have phones in 2006, right? But it nails even the ambiance of the image that it's supposed to be making. Here's an interesting looking one. A lone astronaut floats inside a vast space station, painting swirling galaxies onto a massive canvas that hangs weightlessly in the air, etc. Now, it's not hanging weightlessly in the air, but it pretty much nails the idea. All right. Let's look at one more here. Realistic photograph of a horse galloping from right to left across a vast, calm ocean surface, accurately depicting splashes, reflections, and subtle ripple patterns beneath their hooves. Exaggerate horse movements, but everything else should be still, quiet, to show contrast with the horse's strength, clean composition, cinematographic. All right. Limitations. Our model isn't perfect. We're aware of multiple limitations at the moment, which we will work to address through model improvements after the initial launch. So here it does go into what the limitations are, like cropping. I've noticed this with some of the images that I've made. It might accidentally crop out some of the image. So I've noticed that. Can occasionally crop longer images like posters too tightly, especially near the bottom. Hallucinations. Like our other text models, image generation can also make up information, especially in low context prompts, meaning a prompt that doesn't give a lot of detail, right? So it might make up names, like it might make up this name of a country, Nedia, and so on. Or in this case, it has DR Congo and has DR Congo again. High binding problems. When generating images that rely on its knowledge base, it may struggle to accurately render more than 10 to 20 distinct concepts at once. So what you want to do is don't overload it with a lot of informative detail, 10 to 20 distinct concepts or more, because then it can mess up. Precise graphing. This is showing that it may not create a graph exactly the way it's supposed to. or a graph that is 100% accurate. So you got to be careful with that. Multilingual text rendering. The model sometimes struggles with rendering non-Latin languages, and the characters can be inaccurate or hallucinated, especially with more complexity. Editing precision. So when you go to edit an image, it might not do the correct edit, or it might leave out things from the original image. We've noticed that requests to edit specific portions of an image generation, such as typos, are not always effective and may also alter other parts of the image in a way that was not requested, or introduce more errors. So that part is a little tricky when you're trying to do a revision. It may mess up. And then dense information with small text. The model is known to struggle when asked to render detailed information at a very small size. So that is what I wanted to share with you today about this. What I also want to do is share some examples that I've created, and I'll show you that in a second video. If you're a paid VIP subscriber to my AI for Entrepreneurs newsletter, then that video will be in the newsletter. Hope you enjoyed this video, and thanks for joining me. We'll see you next time.